Episode of the Everblack podcast is brought to you by Deathwish, Hotrods and Kustoms. Check out their Instagram for all their new t-shirts, caps, beanies, cups, and the all-new Atomic Death lineup.
How you doing, man?
Good, dude. Good. Yeah, I'm really good, man. How about yourself? What else is new?
Well, new album come out, which is great. About time.
Yeah.
And about to finally head out and play some shows, which it's been, we played one gig in 2 years, so that's kind of pretty exciting. Made all the more exciting by the fact that Az had done himself a bit of a mischief in the last week and a half.
Oh, really?
And, well, it wasn't really. It was what was done to him. He's lucky to be alive, man. He was in a motorcycle accident that was, some stuff flew off the back of a ute that he was traveling behind, like a couple of sheets of plywood or something, and one of them he managed to dodge a couple, and one of them hit him directly across. Had his hands out like that and hit him across the chest and across both arms and broke his left arm. But miraculously,
holy shit,
he's lucky to be alive for a start. The fact that he actually kept the bike upright after that fact is a miracle in itself. Let alone the fact that I've just watched a video of him playing the songs, going, "I'll be right, boys, we're good to go." So he's had surgery, and luckily the surgeon was a Frankenbok fan.
Oh,
so that helped. And he managed to get sort of the royal treatment when he was in there, and I mean, it's crazy, man, absolutely ridiculous. But he was adamant that he's not gonna cancel these shows, and we're gonna go ahead with it. So, but I just watched the video, and I'm like, there you go. So,
fucking legend.
It's insane.
That is.
He's the other one. 3 years ago, he was mauled by a pit bull on both arms, and miraculously didn't have any damage, no nerve damage, anything done. He was playing guitar within a week of that incident, and I've seen the photos of the gashes on his arms are insane. So he's been through the ringer,
mate, and still going.
Yeah.
Still going.
He will not stop, mate. He will not stop.
That's
and for good cause, man. Like, you just keep persisting, and things start working out for you, and that's kind of where we're at the moment.
Yeah, well, I mean, this album's really fucking good, dude.
Thanks, man. Well, we're wrapped with it, like from sort of. Just for everything, man. Like the way we had an objective when we set out to sort of record it, how we wanted to do it, and sort of to set challenges for ourselves, and then just the recording process and just the final product and everything, and how the songs came up in the end. Like, they went through an interesting sort of incubation process, I guess. You had pretty much a whole year where we didn't play together. We were just writing stuff, and it's sort of always there's the writing, and then you got to get it in the room to really flesh them out. So, and we got a new bass player in that time, and he really, really brought these songs sort of to life. Sort of having his added phenomenal bass playing and just adding that extra dimension that was a little bit lacking with losing a guitarist. So we sort of needed to fill that gap with somebody who was really proficient on bass, and we certainly got that with Owen, that's for sure. He's fucking unreal. He's not even a bass player, he's a guitarist, fuck's sake.
Oh, he's switched over.
Yeah, well, he plays guitar in another band, but he's also played a bit of bass, but it's not his primary instrument. I can't speak more highly of his bass playing. It's ridiculous, and he plays with no pick either. It's all fingers and just a lot of slapping, and he hits a lot of the notes like that really punches with the kick drum. He's just on that kick drum like stink on a monkey. It's crazy. So having that backbone, him and Tommy together,
Yeah.
having that rhythm section is just, man, it's an absolute pleasure to rehearse and play with these dudes. So we're just dying to get out and actually play some gigs now and take these songs to the people.
Yeah, fucking know. Did they change much at all between getting the new, the lineup change from like the original seeds of this tracks to where they are now?
Not really. They didn't really change a lot. They sort of structurally wise, they didn't change. He just added just an extra flavor in there that sort of was that. Well, I mean, the guy who was playing bass previously wasn't really putting any input into it at all. So, so sort of when Owen came along, he really added his own sort of flavor to it. Just added an extra dimension to these songs that kind of wasn't there. That if that wasn't there, I just don't think they'd be as good, And just having just a solid sort of 4-piece playing together now, there's just no fluff at all. It's just, and yeah, it's the best band I've played in without a doubt. The best group of dudes. It's effortless. We're sort of just extolling the virtues of the rhythm section, man. As of the other day, it's like we don't even have to think about what we're doing, or think about what those guys are doing. There's no. It's just an effortless thing that makes your job so much easier when you don't have to worry about or think about what other people are doing. You know what I mean?
Just locks in.
Yeah.
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 That's awesome, man. Hey, I've been following the Bok for quite a number of years, and this album, as I said, it's really fucking good, and it's different too. Like all the tracks seem like it's just it's come from different places, different styles, different subgenres, and but at the same time, it all flows really well.
That was not necessarily deliberate, but that sort of, I mean, so. Essentially, the songwriting process starts with Azza. He's the one that comes up with the riffs, and he essentially sort of gets a basic idea of the structure and how he wants it to go, and then he starts fleshing it out with Tommy, and then it sort of goes from there. And so, with this process this time around too, like because of COVID and the fact that I didn't pretty much see the dudes for like 8 months, so I was pretty much getting demo stuff sent to me, and I was then having to sort of come up with stuff to go over the top of these songs. And I'll be honest, in the beginning, I was like, what the fuck? Like, I was struggling to find where I would sit in all of this. Like the first few things that were coming through were pretty left of center stuff that I was just like, man, this is not my bag. Like, I think you need someone else for this job. But as then a few songs came through that I was able to latch onto, and that's sort of where I got started, and that was good. I was able to get started with things, and then as I just picked off one by one, I kind of found my own place over the songs. But you're right, every single one of these songs sounds different. Like, and that wasn't a deliberate thing. It's just as it was, the next thing that he sort of brought to the table was something completely different. And then it was like, all right, okay, so what am I going to do over this one, and try and keep it sort of cohesive. And that's, I think, the beauty of it. It's like they are all different, but there is this sort of continuous sort of flavor that runs through the whole thing. And I think, I mean, that's about all I can say about that again. But I mean, like,
it's awesome.
The what we really wanted to achieve with this one was recording it as live as we possibly could. That was the one challenge that we wanted. It was like, all right, we really want to capture that sort of furious energy that we can bring to the stage, and we've never really captured that on any record. And this time around, we were determined to do that. So we figured, well, the best way to do that is to try and record it as live as possible.
And that's not easy.
No, it's not. There's many reasons for that. And one of them is it's just, okay, so the minute you've got a click track and you record to a click track, instantly, every single thing that you record becomes editable. Every single thing that you record, from the drums to the bass, guitars, and vocals, all can be manipulated and edited. And it's so easy to fall into that trap. Once you get that on the grid, then if you're playing through or you're just tracking and you're like, you get one chorus down and you're like, and another one wasn't quite there, you go, just cut and paste that one and put it over there. And it's so easy to just let things slide. And in the process of doing that, you lose, I think, you lose that sort of energy and ferocity that can only come from a band that's well rehearsed, doing it like it's that's the one shot you've got. You know what I mean? And that's also only possible if your drummer's capable of doing that. And Tommy's just, I'm still marvel at the fact that he did all of his drums and they're all live takes, no editing at all, apart from one edit where apparently he clipped a mic in one of the songs, and that was the only edit on the whole record for the drums. And so, yeah, that was a huge sort of milestone for us, and I think that translates into the songs. Like, there's definitely this sort of furiousness, and they slow down and speed up. There's certain spots where in the last chorus it's like he goes up a gear and just like takes off just that little bit more. And yeah, I think that's sort of something that's kind of lacking to me a lot in sort of modern metal. I don't listen to much modern metal anymore. I kind of just find that, primarily for this fact, I don't listen to a lot of modern music anymore because I find that I just can't trust whether or not it's real.
Yeah, true.
I like looking through a magazine and like looking at hot chicks and like, I don't even know if that's real. You know, it's the same with sort of or anything that's been digitized. So yes, that was the number one goal for us, was to try and get it as live as we could, and we achieved it and then some. And working with Luke at Danger Tone Studios, Luke's fucking unreal, man, and his place is awesome. He was the perfect person for us to do this with, because he's not somebody who's really, he's got some modern equipment and all the rest of it. He uses Pro Tools, but he's also got this huge big rack of amazing old school hardware, and he's right into that. And he was more than accommodating to try and achieve what we wanted. And yeah, he's a great dude to work with. Cannot speak highly enough of him either. So without him, it wouldn't have come across as good, because initially we were going to record this ourselves, which we've kind of been doing for the last couple of records, and we already recorded the record here. We did it that many times because we were doing it live. We were just recording it over and over and over and over again. So he sort of approached us and sort of heard that that's what we were doing, and he was giving us some constructive criticism on the recordings, like, man, it's good, but it's like it's lacking here, and here. And we took that on board, and he's like, dude, come in for a weekend and let's just put them down and just see what comes of it. And so after that weekend, we pretty much had the majority of it tracked, and I had to wait a couple of weeks before I could get in and do the vocals. But after that weekend, we're like, this is it. We're done. This is definitely what we're after. So,
how did you approach the vocals? Like with the, you're trying to go for that raw sort of recording. Did you do it with like a SM7B, or did you just have a 58 where you just let it rip? Or
so for me, I wanted to be able to do exactly what the band did and do it as live as I possibly could. So it was really good to get those couple of weeks with the actual sort of recording that the band had done. And I just back here, I just practiced. I recorded my vocals for that record here 7 times before I actually got back in to do them properly. So I wanted to get through every single song without stopping, and I usually do 3 to 4 takes per song, and we just use a couple of you always sort of double up a couple of tracks and then have another extra for, make bits pop here and there. So I wanted to get through every single song without stopping, and then I did it again, and I did the first 3 takes. I did them all with the SM7.
Yeah,
which was great. And then we were kind of happy with that. And then the last song, we had Jason Richmond, who's in my other band, Never. He was doing the guest vocals. He was doing the guest vocals on that, and so I came in with him for that particular session, and we were going to do that song together. And we sort of did what we needed to do on that song, and then he was using a different mic. He had a mic, sort of a condenser in the middle of the room, and this thing, I had the headphones on, and I was like, man, this thing is amazing. Like, it's picking up everything. And so once we were done there, I said, Luke, go from the top, man. I want to do a take with this mic. So we went through them all again, and I did them all in one take, each song, and we were done. And that was like the definitive vocal take. That was like the one that was going to be the lead vocal on the record. And it was, at that one, I sort of really brought it over the top. I was like, yes, I got it. I got the sort of the ferocity, because I didn't have a mic in my hand this time. I was just like in the room, basically screaming to the to the sky. Like, I didn't have
struggle with that. I struggle with that still.
I've always found recording to be completely daunting, and it's not the same, because on stage you hold the 50 sort of the mic, and you're like, I'm guilty of cupping a little bit just to get that extra bit of something. And so recording and not holding onto a microphone has always been really disconcerting to me, and that's why the SM7 is so good, because I can hold on to it. But I've sort of really, in that practicing, I sort of tried to really train myself to not have, just get used to not having a microphone in my face. So that kind of, it was just good to have the time to practice this time around. Like, every other sort of recording that I've done, I've never had the opportunity to sort of really knuckle down and practice beforehand. So this time around, I made sure I did my homework, because I just didn't want to. I wanted to do exactly what the band had done. I didn't want to phone it in, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, it's good, man. The vocals are a killer, dude. That's why I was like, oh man, I wonder if he did it old school, because that's with my next recording. That's what I want to do. Is I want to do what Phil and Selmo did, just with a 58.
Yeah.
You know, because I've got a 7B, and I've recorded many tracks with a 7B, but they're very weighty, as you know, so it doesn't feel as and I've tried doing it.
No,
so
that's right.
I'm gonna try and go a little rawer and see how it
goes. Max Cavalier do Chaos AD that way as well. I'm pretty sure he did.
That's an interesting thing. I'm gonna look into that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did, man. I remember that back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah, people. I know there's a lot of engineers out there, studio dudes that'll be like that. Nah, they're like, "Fuck you, man! It's not the way to do it." But man,
mate, it's what you want.
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
they're there to accommodate you, and like, I mean, that concept is pretty bizarre. Like, it's meant to be this way. That's something that I think that is. I don't know. That's permeating music and metal a little bit. It's meant to sound this way. It has to be this way. You've got to use these plugins for your drum sounds. You've got to have this particular this or this particular that, or it's not acceptable, or it's not up to standard or something like that. It's this weird thing where metal, which is supposed to be this sort of the antithesis to all of that, is sort of really getting rigid in that sense. You know what I mean? Like,
100%.
Yeah, which is where I kind of like think that that's why we're not quite a metal band. We're more of a punk metal hybrid, I think. Like, there's definite elements to what we do that is more of a punk band element than a metal band, Even the way we market ourselves and the DIY stuff that we do as well, that's all definitely sort of more geared towards the punk scene, I would say.
100%. Well, that was going to be my next point is, it's not being released on CD from what I can see.
It is.
Yeah.
But, in a very different way. Here's the actual CD. And it's a bit hard to see in this light. but we're actually making these CDs ourselves.
Yeah.
And they come free with any merch purchase that you make from our website. So we also print our own merchandise as well.
All that. Yeah, that's cool, man.
Yeah, so I just spent today printing up a bunch of stuff for the shows coming up next week. So there's the Elton shirt, it's the long sleeve.
Fuck yeah.
Long sleeve print shit.
That's
But yeah, so that we sort of do all that. So the reason being is that I'm sitting on 13,000 blank discs that I bought off a mate of mine a few years ago for a very cheap price. And so before CDs become kind of obsolete, although we are finding that a lot of people are really happy to get a copy on CD.
Yeah,
which is interesting. I think it's weird. I was thinking, shit, I just want to get rid of these things before people don't ever use them anymore, you know.
Yeah.
And why not use them as a marketing tool, you know? Just
Yeah.
so every time we sell a shirt, we send 3 CDs. So somebody will get one, and then we hope that they'll pass on the other 2 to somebody that they think might dig the record. And we figure that it's on Spotify, it's on Apple Music, it's on YouTube, it's free to download from our website. It's like, well, we'll just give away the CDs too, and use them as a marketing, as a marketing tool to hopefully get people to buy our merch and come to our shows.
100%.
So
what about vinyl?
That's coming. I'm like, it's I definitely want to do it. The biggest issue at the moment is the supply chain issue. Like it's like, I think it's blown out to like 18 weeks or something turnaround, which is insane. So I definitely want to do it. And I figured, well, I want to do it and I want to do it properly. So I kind of want to gauge whether or not we're going to sell them first. I don't want to like outlay thousands of dollars on a whole bunch of vinyl that's not going to sell. So it's kind of a case of, we'll get to that when we'll get to that. Like, I'm kind of confident now that we'll do all right in terms of trying to sell this record, but it's just a money thing too, man. It's just trying to afford to do everything, and but I definitely want to do it and do it properly. I want a double gatefold vinyl. First time that I ever get to do vinyl, I'm going to do it properly in green, like obviously because everything's very green orientated. It'll be green vinyl, and I'd love to do 2 records with 4 sides, but I don't know. We'll see how we go with that.
Speaking my language, mate. I'm all about the vinyl at the moment, so I'm like, keen. Yeah. You a vinyl dude?
Yes and no. I used to be, I guess. I haven't really. To be honest, I haven't bought music in a long time. I'm going to be brutally honest. Like, I haven't kind of had 2 years of not listening to much music. Really, the last couple of years, I kind of got bogged down listening to podcasts. And I just got lost in that world for quite a bit, which I tend to do every now and again. I'll sort of just not listen to much. But if I am listening to anything, it's generally stuff from the 60s and 70s, which I've been finding unreal shit on Spotify, just stuff that I would never sort of get my hands on in a million years. You know, you go down rabbit holes with that stuff and just finding out all these unreal artists from back then that I had no idea existed, and I just can't sort of get away from that era. Like, I just love it. I love it because it's just saying before, it's the real deal. It's genuine. Those guys actually did what we did. Like, it was the done thing back then to go in, and just the bands were always recorded pretty much live, and the vocalists usually went in and did stuff sort of separate but live. Like, that's how they did it, man. You know, no bells and whistles, just the band. I love this production too. Like, there's just something about the production from back then that I really enjoy too. I don't know. I just can't sort of stop listening to stuff from back then.
Man, what have you discovered? What's something that you've discovered that you
well, at the moment, there's this guy called Robin Trower. He was in God damn, it's going to elude me. Band that did The Whiter Shade of Pale. Damn it, it's not coming to me. But he's solo stuff is really cool. Like, I mean, I really like sort of the blues stuff from back then. He sort of reminds me, some of his stuff actually reminds me of Child. I don't know if you've ever heard Child from Melbourne.
Yeah.
3-piece band, or a fucking unreal band. They're one of my favorite bands in general, but definitely from Melbourne. But yeah, he's unreal. He's someone pretty cool. This band, I'm actually made this shirt myself, Cactus.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
They're a pretty rad, cheesy 70s rock band from back then. Been getting into a bit of Thin Lizzy too lately, and yeah, what else? God damn. Yeah. Pentagram.
Oh yeah. Yep.
That first release that they put out is fucking unreal. That's really cool. It's just got something about it. I was actually talking to another dude about that the other night, and just telling him about that doco. Have you ever used to have seen that documentary?
No, I haven't.
One?
No, I haven't.
Oh man, get your hands on that.
Yeah.
That's a wild ride. Yeah, they were like, they could have been in the same sort of vein or level as Black Sabbath and bands like that from then, but the singer was just a complete mess.
Yeah.
Still is.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Yeah, his story is pretty intense. Yeah. It's pretty intense watch, man. Like, so whoa, like. But the miraculous thing is that they're actually still going. Like, I'm pretty sure they're still playing shows and shit. Which after watching that, you it beggars belief. Really, this guy's a complete mess.
It's sometimes they're the most resilient people, and they just keep going, man.
Bobby Leibowitz, is that his name? Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
It's worth a watch. Get on that.
Yeah, I might have to suss that out. I'll have a look into that for sure. But have you been screen printing all your life? Like, is that your butter?
Yeah. Well, yes. I actually had a screen printing business for about 10 years. I was probably started back in 2004, and the funny thing is that Frankenbok was one of my first clients back in the day. This is because I've always sort of been friends with those dudes. We were my other band when I moved to Melbourne. Repugnance used to play with Frankenbok back at the art house when they had a drum machine back in the real early days. And so I've known those guys for years. But I sort of started printing stuff for my own band back then, and I just had a little setup that started with just a screen and getting somebody to hold the screen down while I printed on the shirt. And then I couldn't get someone to help me out, so I ended up buying a little carousel and was able to sort of start doing stuff on my own. And then I had friends bands going, hey man, like, do you want to do some shirts for us? And that's where it sort of all started. And next minute, like, I quit my job and I was just screen printing full time. And I built it into a pretty big business in the end. That, unfortunately, I ended up going bankrupt in the end.
Oh.
But it was sort of, it's a long story. But it was sort of one of the first. I was sort of one of the first guys that actually really just concentrated on screen printing for bands. Like, there was no one that was really just sort of catering to bands back then, and merch wasn't such a huge. It was just starting to become sort of really important for bands and small bands and stuff to actually have T-shirts and merchandise. It's like right at that point where digital stuff was starting to really take over, and album sales and stuff were not happening as much, and merch became that really important thing. And so it sort of really did take off, and I sort of had pretty good prices, low print runs. I was just really sort of making sure that even just any band could just come and get 20 shirts for a really good price. So that I did that for 10 years, and then that all went tits up about 2014, and I sort of had a few years off. Just before this record was sort of going to come out last year, I'm like, man, because it really was. I used to print all Frankenbok stuff back in the early days when I was in the band. Like, the business that I had was like the engine room for us, and allowed us to do the touring that we did, and the amount of merch and stuff that I could print back then. It was a real advantage. So I was like, man, I'd love to have my own little setup to be able to print our stuff again. And thankfully, my parents gave me some money, and I just spent last six months out setting up a little print shop out the back of our rehearsal space.
Is that it there where you are now? Is that like Frankenbok HQ?
Yeah. This is kind of the control room. This is the rehearsal room's in next door. This is kind of where the computer room where I do our recording and make CDs and do all kinds of cool shit. And then and I actually live here as well.
Oh, cool.
And yeah. And yeah, so the screen printing setup's out the back, and finally got that operational around Christmas time. And yeah, it took me about 6 months to get it all happening. And yeah, it's great. Love having it. And was out there actually using it today. So
that's awesome, man.
It's nice to have that resource back at our disposal and just be able to sort of print stuff at will. And it sort of means that I can do a lot of other cool shit too that we'll get to eventually, like doing custom shirts for fans, and got a lot of cool ideas and stuff that I want to be able to do. And having that at our disposal is going to make a lot of those ideas feasible. So, and it also means we get a better cut off every shirt that we sell. Just means that I have to print them, but that's okay. I love doing it.
Oh, you got to, man, you got to have a little bar fridge there somewhere with some cold ones to sort of reward yourself. We get the boys to stock it up for you.
I got a decent little fridge out the back. But man, I love it. I love that sort of element of being in a band as well. Yeah. I love the DIY stuff. I like the fact that everything that we kind of do make is it's been made by us, by the band, whether it's the music or the t-shirts or this or that, or it's, I really like that element to it. And every shirt that I send out, I love it. I love having that sort of hands-on approach with it, and having that sort of connection with the people that really dig our music and support us. And it's been really kind of like, we've been absolutely wrapped with the response so far. The people that have sort of, it's got a buzz about it, man, which is rare for us, man. It's not good, just man. Not just the people that have been supporting us for years, but there's a whole lot of other people coming out of the woodwork, and they're sort of, they're spreading the word for us and getting the word out there. And yeah, we couldn't be more thankful and grateful for that. Yeah, and we're just getting started, man. So we're heading to Sydney next weekend, Sydney and Newcastle.
Yeah.
Finally get here and go play some shows in a place that's a lot more accommodating than Melbourne is right now. So yeah, it's a bit of a mess down here. Might be for a little bit while longer. Well, we'll see. Anything goes these days, and don't know what's around the corner. I mean, the amount that's changed in the last couple of months is quite impressive compared to where it was at Christmas time. It's like, wow, I didn't think that we'd be doing much down here for a while yet, but seems like things are relaxing, and we'll see. But up in Sydney and Newcastle and that, they're way more accommodating. So that's where we're going.
Gotta say, the posters for that, the dual poster, is fucking awesome, dude. That is really fucking cool.
It was, it was. I think it was the I Hate People, which I love that name for a band. That's just, I already like that band, and I haven't even heard them yet. I think it was one of those guys, maybe, or those guys that organised that. So yeah, no, they are pretty cool. Yeah, really looking forward to just getting on a plane, and which at certain times in the last sort of year and a half, we was like, well, are we ever going to do that again? Like, is that no longer on the cards? Are we resigned to having to fucking put videos of ourselves playing in isolation, little 4 squares in a box, and is this how we're going to present ourselves to the world? Like, that stuff's just absolute anathema to me, man.
Oh man,
like, if you're playing in a band, that is not how it's meant to go. So not playing live has been really kind of tough. And so we're, as I said, like, Az is just he's he will not take no for an answer. He's like, he's not going to let anything get in his way.
That's awesome.
Including a broken arm.
And the Piston Fist boys are coming down to play with you too, aren't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
Good
we're
dudes.
doing
Good dudes.
3 shows. Yeah. So we've got those 2 shows announced, but we're also doing a sneaky one on the Sunday at Frankie's.
Oh, is this news?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The venue actually announced it the other week, but we're just kind of keeping it a bit quiet until the weekend, and then we'll just, because it's generally, as far as I hear, it's usually a place where there's people anyway. So we just thought we'd keep it a bit quiet and try not to mess with the show on the Friday night too much. But yeah, looking forward to that one because I hear many great things. It's got kind of a mythology about it, the old Frankies. So
Man,
and there was
my dream.
Was it ever going to shut down, or was there talk of that happening? I don't know. Maybe that.
Yeah. I think they're moving or something like that. But I've got this dream to go down there and play fucking Frankie's before it's all over. Like,
yeah.
My drummer went down there and played there a couple of weeks ago, and he's like, it's the best thing in the world. And it's still on my bucket list. So Frankie's, we're coming. I'm just pointing randomly.
Well, that's good to know. Yeah, we were kind of the same. It's like we would have been pretty disappointed if we'd never got to play there. So, yeah. Fuck yeah.
It's happening.
Oh,
but, you're coming up as well. You're going to be coming up to play Moondall Festival.
Yes, apparently, yes.
Happening. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
No, yeah. Well, that's the thing. I mean, that just kind of got announced, and it wasn't really discussed with us. But I think that was we just agreed because we were supposed to do it last year.
I see.
That if it got rescheduled, that we'd be at the next one. Just got announced, and we hadn't really even been told about it. But fuck yeah, no, I'm down for that, man. Yes, please.
The last time we saw you, what was 2019? I remember playing with you boys at Vinny's down here in the Goldie in 2019. Was it 2019? Pretty sure.
That's eons ago. That's
no, it's better
now, man.
Pre-apocalyptic.
Yeah. It's just staggering how much has kind of changed in the last 2 years. Like, really.
2 weeks, man.
Yeah. Well, now we turn a corner. I mean, if you are someone like me who does buy into this whole exponential growth, exponential on every level, that's what we're kind of seeing happen. Things are just speeding up at an exponential rate. We're kind of watching things just change before our eyes. You don't even have a chance to fucking blink before things have completely moved on now. And the more exponential technology gets and all the rest of it, it just keeps speeding up this process. And it's quite staggering to, like, I don't know, be a participant in that and try and, you just got to hold on to the grim death, man. And just go with the flow and ride it and try not to come off, man, But, yeah. Anyway, we survived and we're stronger and better than ever. So,
fuck yeah.
Bring it on.
Bring it on, man. It's gonna be awesome, man. And what else apart from that? What else you and the Bok boys got coming up for the rest of the year?
And that is about as far as we've got in terms of having anything planned at this stage. In terms of shows, it's just really, I mean, it's a case by case situation. It's whatever comes our way. We'll see what happens. We're just gonna flow like water, man. We're just gonna like go where things take us and just, we've pretty much sort of planned it up until this point, but then there's only so much you can plan. And in terms of shows and stuff, it looks like things are starting to get back to normal. But we're gonna hit winter soon, and then who knows? Like, really, it's still a situation where it's not wise to be going and organizing a whole tour and then having to can it. We postponed or cancelled basically 8 or 9 shows last year. We got on a roll. We wanted to go out and play these songs before we'd actually put it out, just to road test them and see what people thought. And we had this whole idea to do that, and every single show that we tried, we had to postpone it and cancel it. So we're a little bit wary when it comes to that. So yeah, we're just gonna see what happens, man. And
Hey,
just try and keep it. We're just gonna keep the momentum going no matter what. Like we'll find a way to just keep that momentum going and just keep getting the word out there. And so just try and spread this disc out as far as we possibly can, and try and get a whole bunch of new people into the band. And that's sort of the plan. It's a tough thing to do with a legacy of 25 years. To actually get new people to sort of either, and especially in Australia, it's like everyone kind of knows the name. They either know the band, wrote them off years ago, or just or is still into the band or whatever. It's like it's this weird thing of like having this name. It's just like a blessing and a curse. It's sort of, it can be a hindrance and a help. I think it has hindered us in a lot of respects. Like I think a lot of promoters and a lot of people like that don't take it seriously. It's like, fuck, these guys are fucking dinosaurs now. Like, let's get some young fresh blood up there, and we want to make people understand that we're like just as hungry and just as fucking fired up, and as we ever have been, if not more so at this point in time. And I think we've finally got a vehicle now to really, prove that point.
100%.
So yeah,
but I don't know, man. Bok's important. I think for the Australian scene, metal and in general, I think Frankenbok's an important band.
Thanks, man. I think so too. I do. I mean, it's not just the music. It's sort of, it's what we do and how we do it, and it's fucking, as a man, like he's just like I say, just this dogged determination and this unwillingness to let sleeping dogs lie, or just to give up, man. There's a perseverance there that's part of the story too, and that's kind of, that's a good lesson, man. It's like, don't ever fucking stop, man. Like if you really care about it and you really want to do it, man, don't stop, because you just don't know what's around the corner.
That's exactly right.
He's gone through that many freaking lineup changes. He's put a lot of trust into people that have betrayed that trust, or have just not done what they'd said they were going to do, and this and that and all the rest of it, man. Like, and finally now he's got a group of guys together who are all on the same page, who are all willing to do what needs to be done, and who all get along great, who aren't wankers or dickheads. We all just, it's just effortless now, man. And that's good, man. That's like, that is the most important thing, man. Like if you don't have that, like it only takes one, man. It only takes one guy in the whole ecosystem for it to collapse, man. Just one. He's not pulling their weight in some fashion, or he's just putting a spanner in the works somewhere along the lines, man. Yeah. And that's it, man. And and it's a really hard thing to get 4 or 5 guys who are all on the same page. Like, and not only are they personality wise, but actually when they get in the room and play together, maybe you can make excuses for people's behavior outside of the room because they don't play well, and then you've got to put up with that dickhead. You go on tour and like, I've been that dickhead. Don't get me wrong. Like, I've had my fair share of troubles and incidences over the years. Not gonna sugarcoat that, but yeah, at this point in time, man, all of those things are non-existent, and it's just it's kind of in its purest form, and it's fucking great.
Full steam ahead, brother. Well, man, thanks for hanging on the show tonight, man. It's been fucking awesome. Yeah, so of course I'll have all the links down here for the new album Overdose, and get the merch and the vinyl when it's ready to go.
Yep.
Man, put me down.
Yeah, I will, man. I will. I'm actually thinking like soon I'm going to put a post up and go, anyone here want to buy it on vinyl? And if I get a good enough response, it's like, okay, let's lock it in get this. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But the problem being, is like I said, it's an 18-week turnaround. It's like, what's that? 4 or 5 months. It's insane. But anyway,
Gotta do it before the world ends.
that is true. Oh God.
He says that. But bro, thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you guys very, very soon.
Cheers, man. My pleasure. Thanks for having me.